Hello, I'm Janessa Nickel, and I am a coach and business consultant, and I enjoy doing Get Ready With Me videos and talking about any topic that's really top of mind related to life and business. So today is going to be one of those videos. Today's actually a pretty casual day for me. I'm not planning anything major. It's a day off. So it'll be a little mix of skincare and just a little bit of makeup, not much. Because to be honest, the last few days I have been avoiding makeup at all costs. I got back from vacation a few days ago. It was spectacular, and it's actually related to the topic I wanted to chat about today, which is energy portals and peak experiences. And that sounds a little woo-woo, which it can be. We can definitely woo-wooify it, if you know what I mean, make it very spiritual. But I also want to ground some of these concepts around peak experiences, big experiences, moving through portals of opportunity in our lives, like take it down to the dirt, to the dust too, and come up with some pretty practical ways and tips that we can navigate some of these life experiences. And that's very fitting considering where I was going for vacation was Arizona in the desert, very dusty, earthy experience, and connected to, at least for me, I'll share a little bit about my experience and peak experience there, but being out in nature and this sense of, I guess you could say, spirituality, which to me is just how we make sense of who we are in connection to something much bigger than ourselves. And so that could be in relationships, that can be out in nature, it can be a lot of different things. It's a very individual, personal experience. But let's get into the makeup and the skincare and just rolling with the topic. I do have my coffee today. This is actually a little mug that I got in Sedona. Beautiful handmade mug. I was hoping that it was going to be big enough to contain my Nespresso coffee, and barely does it contain it. At least there wasn't a huge mess this morning when I made it. And as you can tell, I haven't even dried my hair. I did wash it today. It was in need of a wash, but I haven't dried it. I'm gonna let it air dry, which might be a little bit of a poor decision considering it is high of in the teens today where I live in Boston, but I just don't want to deal with drying my hair. Oh my God, I'll show you. This is the, oh, it's too slippery. I'm gonna lose it. This is the Virtue 6-in-1 styler. Love it. I love the smell of it. I am a big scent person. Very picky when it comes to fragrance and smell. And so the fact that I really love this scent, I could just like do this over and over and over again. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this in because my ends are a bit crazy and wild. I have a lot of hair. It's very fine, but it's just a lot of it. So what we will do is, now that I have that, I'm just gonna clip my hair back. It's gonna look a little silly, but that's okay. This is the kind of day we're having. So let's get into some skincare. I'll show you what I'm going to use, and then I want to talk about first what are peak experiences. But you'll see I have a, God, what is this called? BHA Liquid Exfoliant 2% by Naturium. I use this as a leave-on exfoliant. And then I have a vegan rice milk moisturizing toner by Goodall. I'm assuming I'm saying that right. Then we'll be doing some Haru Haru Wonder Black Rice Moisture Airy Fit Daily Sunscreen. Isn't that so funny how some of these products, it's like 5 different words in a row. But I love this sunscreen. It does really well under makeup. And then I'm gonna finish off with the Naturium Multi-Peptide Moisturizer. And yeah, let's just start with that. And as I go through that, I want to talk about what are peak experiences. There's some definitions out there. I mean, we could look at it from a scientific perspective, of course. There is some research around these big peak experiences that we can have. The way that I'll describe it in like my non-scientist layman's terms is that for me, I think of it as an experience that just has this sense of profundity. They are very profound experiences where we can have an intensity of feelings, of thoughts, of emotions. Of course, sometimes these experiences are, what do we want to say so we don't get in trouble with the YouTube algorithm? Substance assisted peak experiences. Those are a thing. We're not talking about that today. I'm talking more about the kinds of peak experiences that come through for us when we are, for example, out in nature. That was my most recent one, especially because I live in the city and I am not a big city person, as I've learned. I can work in the city, like I can come to the city, I can vacation, I can be here for a short time. But since I've moved to Boston, I have so struggled with being in the middle of just urban chaos, as it feels to me. So for me, getting out in nature leads to a very profound experience where I'm having this internal intensity and emotions, and I'm looking out at landscapes, I'm interacting and connecting with different people, with different animals, even with plants. And it's these experiences that can remove us from more of our day-to-day. Ooh, that squirted. I think it went on a mirror. That's okay. I'll find it later and clean it off. This is the sunscreen now. Oh no, I got like Sadie hair. Oh, my miniature Australian Shepherd puppy, who sometimes makes an appearance in these videos. I caught her hair somehow in the sunscreen. Here we go. What was I even saying? Right, these experiences that break us out of our daily, just kind of routine understanding of who we are and what life can be. And this is why it's so open-ended and it can feel a little ungrounded at first to talk about these things, because it really has to be rooted in the individual, I think, in that person's lived experience. What is going to break you out of the mold? What is going to maybe shake up your homeostasis around who you think you are, what you do, who you relate to, how you fit into the bigger picture of life. And so we have these experiences that disrupt fundamentally. And why are they so impactful? I think it's because these experiences, now the moisturizer, I think these experiences open up almost this portal, this moment of opportunity to really question our perspectives, the filters we use to understand what life is about. And we know that this is not just energetic or spiritualized. Like this is something very true to physiology and what goes on inside us with these dopamine and serotonin surges and rushes that we can get when we're completing something. We're finally getting to this point maybe of going out and having this experience, or something's finally happening to us or for us, or we're just inundated with a lot of novelty with our environment or our activities. And this is not always a small thing. I mean, it can be, but they can also be fundamentally life-changing experiences. Next, what we're going to do is, before I get into the next little bit of our video, I'm just going to put on, it's not even a true foundation, I'm just putting on a CC Plus cream from It Cosmetics, and it's SPF 50. So I'm going to be doubling up on SPF today, but that's okay because I did a big old retinol treatment last night. So we need to make sure that we protect our skin. Have it on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna look down at my mirror here and turn it on and just put a little bit of this on today just to cover up some of the redness. I think it's going on okay. We'll see. I actually really like the coverage of this product, but the issue that I find is as I wear it throughout the day, it starts to kind of move around a bit. It's not really like a long stay foundation, but it's really nice for these days where I'm just looking for something to kind of cover up some of that redness that I have. And I'll put on some mascara and maybe a little bit of blush. I may not even do that, to be honest. I'm feeling very, very lazy today and unmotivated when it comes to my makeup. Okay, that's starting to be enough of the blending that I've done. I will say that it's already starting to just pill a little bit. That's because I know I did the wrong thing. I went in immediately with this product when I had just done all of that skincare. It's because I'm in a rush. I know I should have let that other stuff settle for like a minute or two, at least, maybe even 5 minutes. But it's just not one of those days. It's not one of those days. I don't care enough. Okay, good enough. We'll leave it at that. And what I want to do next is just a little bit of brow. And as I do that, I'm going to talk about what do we do with these peak experiences, or these energetic portals, or these intense moments, whatever you want to call them. Well, I've gotten to the point in my life where I've been through a few peak experiences, and I have to say that I think the biggest thing for me is just reminding myself that there's choice. There's always choice around how to integrate, how to come out of these experiences. It's so possible to get a little caught up in them, and it can be very disorienting coming out of that. Maybe that has something to do with, again, physiologically, what's going on hormonally, chemically in our bodies. It's intense, it's a lot, and we can potentially lose ourselves and lose orientation around what we really want. So I just want to emphasize choice. And how do we have choice? How do we take care of ourselves when we're coming out of these big, intense experiences? Or maybe it's moderate intensity, like the one that I just went through. I think the biggest thing is continually asking, what is true for me in this moment? And not getting too wrapped up in what other people may think or want or be experiencing as well. And that looks a little different to everyone. For me, a big part of that in remaining connected to my truth and what do I really want and what is really true for me, I'm not sure how else to describe it. It's like, how do I still stay rooted in myself, even though there might be a tornado of change around me, and there may even be a tornado of change within me. And I personally have to really slow down. I have to slow down. If I continue to move too fast, because sometimes these big peak experiences, not always, but sometimes they feel really big because they move really fast. And then we can lose our sense of time. And so when we slow down, we are helping ourselves root into what is really here right now. And that's part of the beauty of a peak experience, feeling potentially very connected to that. What is just right here, right now? What is just feeling very present to us in that moment, and letting go of all of that weight that might be associated with past experiences, or that anxiety or feelings of being unsettled because we're constantly thinking about what comes next instead of just being here right now. It sounds so corny, but it is so true. Because sometimes when we move too fast and we've gone through this portal of change or this experience, it's like an opening, right? And we become almost these little energetic sponges that can take a lot in. And that's part of widening up our perspective and our vision. But it also allows maybe some things to come in and influence us that just don't feel that good. Especially when we come out of the experience and we're in more of that integration phase where it's like, okay, we've gone and done the thing. We've had the experience. Now what? For me, when I came home from Arizona and I had this beautiful opening experience, I was out in nature, and then I get home back to the city, back to the, like to me, what feels so energetically draining. What do I do now? Because the contrast can feel like it's a little too much to take on. And here are some tips. I've already mentioned one, which is slow down. You don't need to make a bunch of decisions right now. And you don't have to change everything all at once. Let's do some mascara real quick. Just a little coating. Because I've definitely gone through some peak experiences in my life, or transitional points or transformative moments where I came out of them and my perspective of myself and my life and what I want to do was so blown open that I went into this massive action mode. Like, I have to burn down everything. I have to change this and I have to change that. And we start stacking all of these changes, not realizing that can actually sabotage our progress towards maybe moving in a direction that we realize is now more suited to us, and it is better for us, and it is more aligned with our truth and what we really want. But when we overburden ourselves with that action, with that pressure to make a change or somehow be different or worse in some situations, I've done this, where it's like, I need to make everybody else in my life different. I've done that a few times, where I projected onto other people the impact, the insight from this peak experience or this change in myself. And that has never gone well. I'll be honest, maybe you've had a different experience, but for me, whenever I've tried to project that expectation onto people, it just blows up because it's unfair. Because even if those people have gone through a similar experience or through the same experience we've been through, they're still their own people. So it's really a form of subtle objectification and treating people like objects when we project on them that way. And we think, oh, well, because I've had this profound experience, you need to experience it too. Like, you need to make these changes. This is so important. And it's like, okay, yeah, but they're their own people. And maybe this is not part of their path. Maybe this is not part of their evolution and what their, whatever you want to believe, soul, heart, spirit, blah, blah, fill in the blank, is calling them to do in this life. And that's okay, because you wouldn't want someone pressuring you either, right? Like, I wouldn't want someone pressuring me based on some profound experience they've had. It's like, okay, but that's not mine. So that's another tip. Try not to project on other people and objectify them. And another piece is I just put on a little bit of blush, which actually I have to get over here. I changed my mind because today I was gonna try this e.l.f. blush, Halo Glow Beauty Wand blush again. I did it the other day and it just didn't go well. I don't think my application is on point. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm just too impatient today to try to sit with this and make it work. So I'm just gonna go back to what I know I love, which is the Westman Atelier Petal Blush. I'm gonna put a light little bit of this on my cheeks, and then we'll powder. I think that's it. Oh, maybe some lip gloss. Yeah, something to just save my lips. It is so dry here right now. So yeah, we're not even doing bronzer, nothing like that. I don't got time for that. We gotta just get through this video, because even though it's a day off, I have a pretty hefty to-do list. I love this blush. It's so pretty. I thought I messed up my blush. Oops, no, I didn't. Okay, the final tip I wanted to say around peak experiences and energetic portals and all the things. Whatever helps you ground and connect to your body, that can be very helpful during this time, especially during the integration process. Because I think of the peak experience, it's something that happens that like sometimes blows us open energetically, right? It's like, I'm open, new insights, new perspectives, and that can just bring our energy up and up and up, up. And so anything we can do to just calm, like bring it down. Maybe that's through particular movement that speaks to you. Perhaps it's through eating certain kinds of foods that are really grounding and nourishing for you. Maybe there are certain relationships or connections in your life that feel really grounded and reassuring. And this is just the Huda Beauty powder that I've kind of been in love with recently. I don't think I've really used much else. It's the one with the fragrance. It's the one with the fragrance. The fragrance. I still didn't say it right. So just do a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Again, the disclaimer, I'm not a makeup artist. This is just me having fun with you and chit-chatting. So let me share a little bit about my peak experience in Arizona, for what it's worth, as a little illustration of some of these concepts. Because I think we're done. I think we're in a good place. This is good enough for today. Oh, wait. JK, I totally missed the opportunity to do lips. I need to look in my little drawer here. What do I want? Do I do the Laneige? I've been doing this all the time. You know what I'll do as I like play with this? My little fidget. I'm gonna put a little Laneige. My nail's almost too long to go in here. I'm gonna put a little Laneige on my lips, see what that looks like, and maybe put something else on top of it. This looks nice. I like this. I'm gonna try to put some Kosas. What's it called? Kosas. I don't even know what the product is. It's one of their lip products in the color Malibu. I really like this one. I probably should have put this and then the glossy product. Whatever. Let's just do a little color. Yeah, I like that. Feels fresh. Okay, I think that's it. Do I want to bring my hair down? It's just wild. My hair is naturally wavy. So when it air dries, it just does this, I don't know, it looks a little silly, but that's okay. So my little story about Arizona is that I went out to the desert, and I'd been to the southwest of the US before. I've been to the Sedona area. I actually really love that area. It feels really good to me. And that surprises me because I would not anticipate that I'm a big desert person. It was just getting out and being surrounded by this super impactful, beautiful landscape. If you want to see more, you can actually check it out on my Instagram. I did post a lot of pictures and videos. But the point I wanted to make is that I went out into the desert, and it blew me open in a way, just introducing so much fresh energy and perspective. I'm not gonna lie, the last few months personally have felt pretty heavy in some ways, not in all areas of life. Things have been going really well, but there are just some areas of life that have had a bit more density, I'll describe it that way, when it comes to the stress that I've been navigating. And it was so beautiful to just get out into the quiet, seeing animals that I usually don't see, interacting with plant life that I usually don't see. And it took that density, and it's almost like it broke it up for me. Like the stress could just melt away. I could physically feel my body melt. And it was amazing that I could notice almost hour to hour more and more relaxation. And when I was relaxed, I was more present. And when I was more present, I was able to be more honest with myself, with what I was really feeling and how I was reflecting on my life the last year in particular, but really the last few years, and where I am now and where I want to go and how do I fit into this bigger picture of life and what I'm trying to create. And without getting too personal, I'll just say that it opened up for me new considerations and insights around where I want to live and potentially the kind of work that I want to do, the type of community and relationships that I want to have. A lot of it I already knew, so in some ways, like through that opening of that peak experience being out in the desert, it just confirmed or reminded me of what I already knew. But it was through that fresh energy that I felt like, oh, like I could do anything. It was beautiful. And then I came back to Boston. And there, don't get me wrong, I don't want to hate on Boston or New England, because there are definitely parts of my experience here since I moved here a while ago that I have enjoyed, that have really touched me and also provided me a new perspective. But I find it really stressful personally, living in the middle of a really big city where there's constant floods of people and traffic and noises, and I look out my window and I have an amazing view of the city, but I barely see green. I barely see hills or mountains. And that's the kind of landscape and environment that just lights me up. So it led to a bit of that, we have the peak, we have reaching the climax, and then we have the dive or the coming down. And it was a swirly few days afterwards where I was reflecting on how, wow, I just love this experience. I almost felt bad or ashamed. Like, I loved this experience in Arizona, but now I'm kind of feeling a little down now that I've been back, beating myself up, maybe saying, oh, I should just be grateful that I had that experience, and I need to come back, and I need to be productive, and I need to make these changes that I feel like I want to make in my life right now. And I had to take my own tips that I've shared with you. I had to make sure that I wasn't projecting any of that expectation or shift onto other people. I needed to slow things down, which I've done, and accept the fact that often when we're integrating these experiences that open us up, the realizations and the transformation itself that come as a result come in waves. So that's what I want to end on today, just as a little reminder. Maybe you're going through a moment like this, or you're still processing something that you've been through, to give yourself the time, the space, what you're able to have, the compassion and the understanding that you are only human and you're doing the best you can. And I give that to myself right now in this moment as I showed up to very imperfectly do my Get Ready With Me video with you today and say that I am human and I have compassion for myself and I'm doing the best I can. Thank you so much for being here, for connecting. If you do enjoy connecting, I invite you to subscribe, like the video, all the things that they say on YouTube. And I look forward to connecting again soon.